Every new play that runs for more than 3 months is either a commercial or critical success. So if it's a new play that runs for more than 3 months, so if N, then it's either a commercial success or it's a critical success. So for commercial, let's use C, and then for critical success, let's use S. And then they tell us last year, all new plays that were critical successes were also commercial successes. So that's saying everything that was an S, right? So if it's S, then it was also C. So the conclusion reads, therefore, every new play that ran for more than 3 months last year was a commercial success. So that's saying, well, then every new play, right? So their conclusion is, if it was a new play, then it was a commercial success. So this is not a flawed argument. This makes sense, right? If it was a new play, then it was either commercial or critical success. But if it's a critical success, it's also a commercial success. So all the new plays are commercial successes. Awesome. So let's find something that has a similar pattern of reasoning. Most new restaurants require either good publicity or a good location in order to succeed. So I'm already hesitant about this one because it uses the word most. The original never used the word most, right? Most means something very specific, and it would mess with our conditional statements because then we would need to put an M above our arrow to accurately represent the word most. So A is very unlikely to be your answer. So I'm going to skip it for a second. Every best-selling cookbook published last year is both well-written and contains beautiful photographs. So if it's a best-selling cookbook, then it's both well-written and, right? So let's see, maybe we can write it like that. Just gonna write, this is a plus sign. It's well-written and it's beautiful. So W, and well, we already used B, but let's use an uppercase B then. Then it says, well, this cookbook, right, this one particular cookbook is well-written and contains beautiful photographs. So they're talking about one specific cookbook. So they're talking about C. It's well-written and contains beautiful photographs. This is introducing something else, right? This is a fourth variable or fourth thing that we're talking about. The original only ever had 3 things that we were talking about, right? So just from that, this is unlikely to be our answer, and we can cross it out. This is saying something different, right? This is saying, well, every best-selling cookbook has these things. This one cookbook has these traits, so it must be best-selling, right? This is actually a flawed argument, unlike the original. So this is definitely not our answer. Let's take a look at C. All students at the Freeman School of Cooking study either desserts or soups in their second year. So this, again, mentions or, like our original, right? This one mentioned and that was yet another thing wrong with it, right? It didn't mention or. So if you're a student at this school, right, if you go to the school F, then you study either desserts or soups. This year, all Friedman students studying soups are also studying desserts. So if you're studying soups, then you're also studying desserts. Already, this is looking very similar. Therefore, every second-year student at Friedman is studying desserts this year. That's technically true. Second-year students is just a subgroup of all students, right? So every second-year student should be studying desserts this year. That makes sense. Let me see if this was also a subcategory. So this conclusion is talking about every new play, right? And this is talking about every new play. They're talking about the same group the whole way through. Here in C, we're talking about all students, and then we start talking about every second-year student. So that's the only difference I'm seeing here between the original stimulus and C. But other than that, C seems like a great answer. So C seems like it could really be the answer, except that small difference. So I'm just going to check out D and E really quickly. D, chefs who become celebrities either open their own restaurants or write books about their craft, but not both. So they do one or the other, not both. If you're a chef who became a celebrity, you either open a restaurant or you write a book, but not both, right? You can't do R and B at the same times, you can't have done R and B. This one individual, John Endicott, is a celebrated chef who opened his own restaurant. Therefore, he does not write books about his craft. This is not a flawed argument, but it doesn't parallel our original, right? This one reason why is it starts talking about an individual, right? It gets more specific. This is bringing in another variable, right? We only had 3 variables in the original, N, C, and S. Here, our 3 variables are C, R, and B, right? Chefs who become celebrities, restaurants, writing books. John Endicott becomes like another variable in that, they're saying, well, he's a chef who opened his restaurant, therefore he doesn't write books. This is using something to say, well, this is using this conditional statement to say, well, he did not write books. They're not saying what didn't happen in the conclusion here, right? So the conclusions also are not quite lining up in terms of structure or where they're going. So D is very unlikely to be your answer as well. We can cross it out like B. E, every catering service in Woodside Township will accept both residential and business catering assignments. So if it's a catering service, then it accepts both residential and, this is a plus sign, residential and business, right? Something that I'm seeing here again is they use the word and instead of or, but let's keep going. Peggy's Fine Foods is a catering service that will not accept business catering assignments. Hence, Peggy's Fine Foods is not in Woodside Township. Again, this is not a flawed argument, but this is not the same structure, right? This is saying, well, that must mean this individual thing that we're talking about, right, from a larger group. It's a type of catering service. This individual thing we're talking about, they're saying it doesn't fit the original. It doesn't fit into the first sentence, right? It doesn't fit into this conditional statement. It's not in Woodside Township. That does not parallel the structure of the original, right? The conclusion wasn't about something not fitting into this category of every new play. So for that reason, we can also cross out E, and C would be your answer. Again, A is not our answer because they use the word most, but we can keep reading it. Most new restaurants require either good publicity or a good location in order to succeed. So that's saying, well, if you're a new restaurant, right, then you require either good publicity or good location. So let's say P or location. So L, well, let's write the L like this so it shows up. Okay. And then it's most, right? So we're going to need a little M above our arrow. But most restaurants with a good location also receive good publicity. So if it has a good location, then it receives good publicity. But this is, again, most of the time, right? So we would have, again, a little M here above the arrow. Hence, a restaurant that has a good location is guaranteed to succeed. So if it has a good location, that's saying if L, then it's going to succeed, which is an entirely new variable, right? S is, actually, no, it's not an entirely new variable. They talk about it here. So they require this to succeed. So actually, if it's a successful restaurant, right? If it's a SR, successful restaurant, but this is actually flawed logic, right? This is reading the conditional statement backwards, and it's not the contrapositive or anything. So this is not a correct assumption to be making or correct conclusion to be making here. So A is also wrong, and C would be our answer here.